Welcome everyone to the very last session of today's Disruption Forum. So I'm Bartosz, I'm Design Director at Netguru, and I have a privilege to welcome Mariana, Jan, and Moritz. Guys, please introduce yourself. Mariana?
Maybe I can start. Yes,
Let's start
hello.
with you.
I'm currently the design system manager at Vinted, and yeah, we are very design driven, and of course, all of these questions about AI and how to work with it are present in our daily life, even in the design system.
Thank you. Moritz?
Yeah, hi, I'm Moritz. I'm the director of design at Moss, so oversee a team of product designers, and I've been with the company since the very beginning, so saw it grow from kind of very small stage to large stage, and very keen to share some of those learnings today.
Thank you. And Jan? You're muted. You're still muted.
Can't hear you.
It's the classic.
The classic very last session gimmick.
It's a nice way to wrap up the conference.
Yeah, so let's give Jan a chance to reconnect and welcome to Design Leadership Upskill. So on developing design leadership skills and craft in the age of AI. And hopefully Jan will join us in the conversation. So first, let me ask you the very, very general question. How does the market look from your perspective nowadays? Maybe let's start with Mariana.
From a hiring perspective, you mean?
From business hiring perspective.
Business.
Hmm.
Yeah, generally speaking, at least, well, from my past experience, we are prioritizing much more strategic thinking, soft skills, and really like critical thinking other than the craft of putting together UI and interfaces. Because now with AI rising, with all of these tools that we can help that will help streamline the designer's process, it's really, really important to focus on why are we doing what we do and how is this impacting the strategy? How do we influence stakeholders at all levels? And so this is the shift that I've been noticing. Designers from juniors to leaders, they're expected to step into strategy much more. And it's hand in hand with design in general. I don't know how the others see it.
Well, I think whether I'm.
Yeah, we could hear you for a second there.
Yeah.
We heard you for a second, Jan. Okay, so third time the charm. Moritz, how does this look from your perspective?
I think I agree with Mariana that soft skills are becoming more and more important, I would say. Although I don't really see AI replacing much of the designer's work yet. I think the engineers are much more, I would say, affected by that, because I think the tooling out there is really much more geared towards building code. I've not really seen any AI tools that can really like take a prompt and come up with a solution that solves the customer's problem. So from that perspective, I do think it's becoming more and more important for the designers to be very empathetic, good at communication, understanding customers at a deep level, and then building solutions on that. And I can say personally, I mean, the AI craze over the last years has been very interesting to follow. I think at Moss or in our work, we don't really try to start with AI in any project. Like we don't ask ourselves, oh, let's build something around AI. We've done that as well, but it's really a small part. It really often mostly starts with understanding a customer problem and then building a solution on top of that. If AI can help solve that problem, great, and sometimes it does, and then we use that. But it's really still a very human-centered function. So from that perspective, I can echo the soft skills. I would also say from my experience over the last year, maybe year and a half, it's becoming actually more difficult to find talent that really matches what we are looking for. And I think our requirements are quite strict. I mean, we look very much for generalists, somebody who can really, run research, run user testing sessions, be good in UI, also build design systems. So we really want those. I mean, we kind of call them unicorns, people who can do kind of everything. We even require them to write copy in UX, etc. And it's becoming a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, to find people that match the expectations.
Yeah, let me just quickly add to that point that it just hit me. That I feel that we're becoming more demanding, or the expectation for the designer in general is it's much more demanding, because it's not only about, do you use Figma? Are you familiar with design tokens? And it's so now the mid-levels that we have, they were probably the seniors that we had a few years ago, and now we start to seeing more like very senior positions, staff positions, and we're becoming more demanding on this critical thinking that the designers bring.
Yeah, maybe I would add something. I hope that you can hear me right now. Great. So, hello everyone.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jan. I work at BNP Paribas. I'm a service designer, but I had an experience as a head of UX, and I would like to say, Mariana, that and Moritz, that I think that the soft competences are much more required. But as you mentioned, suddenly the expectations are higher, especially in terms of time and capacity. So I believe that more and more business partners, managers are expecting that as a UX designer, in general designer, we will deliver faster thanks to AI. And definitely the expectations are high, but I would say that the tool set right now, it's not so sophisticated. Although, for example, in field of user research, we can accelerate, we can gather faster some kind of insight, we can proceed, we can create the report. But at the end of the day, the human skills are much more important, like, presenting the insights from user research and actually justification of our strategic decisions. So I would say that although we are fostering, I mean, more and more people are expecting, but unfortunately we are still looking for suitable tools which will help us. Unfortunately, in some fields, like in finance, I would say health tech, there are many regulations and we are not allowed to use every extremely important tools right now. So we are facing many challenges, I would say.
And from your perspective as leaders working with your teams on a daily basis, how does it look? Has it changed already? As you mentioned that there's a visible shift in requirements, different type of profile maybe is what you're looking for. But working with those people, how did it change your daily routine as design leaders?
Yeah, I can maybe take that. I mean, I think the last years, like globally, the markets have become a bit more difficult, right? Like companies don't grow as quickly anymore. Money is not so freely available, and so I think what you're seeing, in industry leaders like Airbnb and other companies is that product managers spend much more of their time on product marketing, because marketing seems to become a much more critical aspect to actually grow. And so we're certainly also moving a little bit into that direction. I think we're not fully there yet, but I think with the PM really becoming more of a product marketing expert, the product designers need to fill in a little bit of that gap and act a little bit more like the product manager in the teams. That's certainly what kind of like in our case is the case, that a lot of more the time of my team spends on aligning within the team, prioritization, research, etc. Like those things that a lot of time happens in sparring with the PM. That still happens, right? But it's expected of the product designer to fill a little bit more of that gap. And in that sense, I think the responsibility is widening.
But did you change your one-on-one routine with your team members? So you're going through more of those product management metrics, etc. right now?
Not really. It's just evolving naturally. I think when I share feedback with the team, it has more recently, like we said in the beginning, been much more about these soft skills. I think communication has, for me, maybe it's just become more clear that it's more important. But over the last years, it just seems like that's one of the key qualities that a designer needs to have, right? If you have a great idea and you have a great solution to a problem, but you cannot pitch it or sell it to any of the stakeholders, and it would not be built, and the impact of it is zero. And so it's almost like if you can't sell it as a designer, you can't ship it, and then what's the value of it, basically?
Mariana, Jan, has
Well,
it your routine?
Yeah, actually, I mean, in general, AI hasn't. I mean, it has an impact on our routine, but still, due to that, we are in a bank. We're actually in regulating environment. We have own tools, and we have to actually stick to some rules. But still, I think that we are thinking more about strategic approach toward business, because right now, I think that we are a little bit victim of the mindset that AI will solve all the problems. So now we have to somehow prove one more time, prove our value, and there I see the significant shift of thinking about the strategy. But regarding, I would say, daily life, nothing has changed, but it has changed in our mindset, because we somehow have to develop another skills, not only helping design things, but also helping designing strategy, and then combining everything in one product. So I would say I agree that we should sometimes change our hats from the designer to the product owner, and this is the main challenge. I think that more and more, people we are working with are actually requiring that from us. Sometimes helping in different fields, even though it's not our field or area of expertise. Sometimes we have to actually help. So this is that change I see right now.
Let me add something here, because right now I'm wearing the PM hat. So up until recently, I was more on the design leadership, and I'm focusing as a product manager. So I'm an individual contributor, and the designers, they are my right hand, because there's a big overlap. So let's think of the why, how, and what. As a product manager, my focus is on the why and the what, and I really focus on details in these two areas. And then the designers, they are on the why, the what, and the how. So there's a big overlap in some activities that we both should do. So for example, in product discovery, it's of my best interest to do user research, to reach out to the users, to make sure that we are prioritizing according to, and that we're really solving the problem. And this is also what we expect from designers to a certain point. So I'm bringing a different perspective to confirm what you're saying. There's an overlap for sure in these roles. And I don't think that designers are stepping into a role that they shouldn't. I think that it's, as Moritz was saying, it's a natural, like organic evolution. And it complements and it gives us a much more, I'm missing the word, but a much richer perspective of the product and the problem that we're solving.
And do you experience pressure or hype from your execs to implement, push, or maybe be more AI oriented as leaders? I can expect Jan has a bit different perspective, but I also know from my experience that his sector has kind of gone also crazy about AI and machine learning, etc. So how does this look?
Maybe I can jump in.
Continue.
And it's gonna be quick. So I'm working with a design system, and it's expected that as it is the tool to streamline product development efficiency from both design perspective and engineering, it's expected that at some point we're going to have AI in the roadmap. Even though, what problem are we actually trying to solve with AI or any other tool? That part is unclear, but it's expected that at some point we also take opportunity of this new technology. So it's a strong yes from my side.
Moritz?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we already work and leverage large language models a lot across the product. Moz is a spend management platform, so it basically is a tool that enables companies to manage all types of spend: card spend, invoice spend, reimbursements, etc. And we really want to target the product towards the pro users of that tool. So it's the finance teams in an organization. And for them, it's really a time saving and control tool. And AI can help with the time saving, right? Because it reduces manual labor. It can like scan documents very accurately. It can split it into multiple lines, et cetera, et cetera. And so there we've deployed AI since what I would say like 3-4 years. And that has gotten better and better and better. And we've dabbled a little bit in like, should we, building additional products based on AI. But again, I want to say we don't really start with the technology. We're a product company and we want to solve customer problems first and foremost. And whenever AI is a tool that can help, we deploy that. But if it's not, we really like build a solution that just solves the problem.
Yes,
so just AI for the sake of AI doesn't really excite us, I would say.
And just continue maybe on this topic. Do you know, or maybe do you expect that US leaders or other design leaders should know more about technology nowadays? Like, is the knowledge of implementation a bit more important than, or becoming more important due to hype than user needs? Or can you just stay indifferent to this AI wave? What's your take?
Well, I maybe just give you a brief overview. What is my perspective on that? I would say that in order to solve the customer problem, we should know the customer problem. And the next step is how we can solve it. Nowadays, we can encounter and we are facing more and more solutions which is actually a little bit hidden, which is actually hidden in some kind of solutions. That is why we should know how does it work actually. We should know which tool we can use in order to solve the customer and also employee problems. Because for example, in BNP Paribas right now we are accelerating in automation and actually digitalization in order to increase efficiency, not only for customers but also for employees, because we are trying to actually increase also the not only customer experience but also employee experience. But what is extremely important, without knowledge about the tools, it will be hard to design things, because from my point of view we are moving a little bit toward future without screens. So that is why maybe in future we'll not only design the screens but mainly focus on the user journeys, customer journeys, employee journeys, and automation on the touch points. So from my point of view, the future actually will require to know what kind of solution we should adapt to different situations, different problems. And that is why I think that sooner or later each designer should know the basic knowledge about the AI solutions, even some kind of solutions which are, I would say, created by startups, by innovative companies, because at the end of the day, more and more companies are more open for innovation in order to adopt this innovation inside the organization. So that is why I think that also the future role of designers will be helping to implement different solutions in different steps of the process in the product. So I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we encourage, I think, each other a lot in the team to try out new AI tools. Every Tuesday we have a stand-up and we try to share inspiration with each other. And it's very regularly a new AI tool and we kind of demo things towards each other. However, I sometimes think that you can come up with the best solutions if you're almost like ignorant of the technical foundation. Because what I've seen sometimes is that, designers, if they're like really aware of the platform limitations, they design into those limitations because they know what solution will be easy to build, which one will be fast to build, and then maybe they miss the overall picture. Versus if you actually don't really, I'm not saying you shouldn't know your tech stack, but if you are a little bit ignorant towards that, I think you sometimes come up with a better customer solution, right? Because you're not really designing for the constraints. And you can then still make trade-offs and say, okay, we don't build the fully fledged thing, but if you don't go there from the beginning, that nobody else will.
Mm-hmm. And so are you expecting this maybe technical acumen from your team members, or will you be expecting it? Because from what I can see and talking to my colleagues, they observe there's this kind of resistance maybe or hesitancy toward those new AI tools and toolset. And I'm curious if you can see it among your teams, or maybe you have some expectations from your team members, how to use them, how to broaden their skill set or tool set with those new emergent tools. Mariana?
Go ahead,
Or yeah,
Mariana.
maybe if you
No,
have...
because I would like to just add something to Moritz mentioned. I would say that the mindset will be the clue. That will be the most important thing. Experimentation. This is the thing, because as you mentioned, many folks are complaining about, oh my God, I will actually lose the job because of the AI, some kind of solution. And I would say that we should actually a little bit change our mindset, because we should start to experiment in order to define the boundaries of AI. Because Moritz mentioned that you're experimenting with AI, and I think that it's good to know what is the limitation and boundaries. Thanks to that, we can actually even think beyond that and start to sometime just connect the dots, create a tool set which will be, or some kind of solution which will be helpful. But from my point of view, right now, of course, it depends on the industry. But from my point of view, many people, especially I think in Poland, are worried about what will be the future. But still, I think that the most important thing is to experiment and see that, unfortunately, in many cases, these tools are extremely limited, and without a person with the knowledge, are just simple tools. But the knowledge is actually the designers are the knowledge and know how to use them in order to create tangible effects and results.
I think it's important to. So when we speak of AI, we think about this like big new technology. It's a monster that's not like a bad monster, but it's a big thing that it's gonna completely change how we are working. But there's this full scale of different AI applications that we can use. And maybe instead of thinking of AI as this big elephant that we cannot like deconstruct. Sorry, this is a strange comparison.
It works.
So instead of thinking about it as this big thing, what are the first of all, what are the inefficiencies that I have today as a design leader or as a designer? What are my pain points, and what are the existing tools that could potentially help with that? So instead of thinking about using AI for the sake of using AI because it's new and because there are a ton of possibilities, I think it's much easier if we start by slowly integrating according to our needs. For example, as a PM, AI, it saves me, ChatGPT in particular, it saves me a lot of time in writing user specs or user stories and product specs, and all of this documentation that is necessary. If I can save time in not writing all of these things, then this time that I'm saving, I can think about others. So, and this is such a small integration that's already helping me a lot. So maybe, there are smaller in-between steps, and it doesn't have to be this big change that nobody knows exactly how to deal with. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but this is how I see it.
Yeah, I would like to add something. I know that we are running out of time, but still, I think that one recommendation, try to find the specialization, because there are many tools, as Mariana mentioned, and try to find out the tools which are extremely helpful for you in some kind of context and use case. And then, thanks to mastering it, you are able to, be much more efficient. And that is why I think it's a good approach, Mariana, and I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, from my perspective, there are. I fully agree with the efficiency gains in the, maybe things that are maybe not actually designing things. But for example, we need to translate our product into 3 languages. We just had 2 people from Localize on before. This is the product we use as well. And so a lot of our time is spent on, first of all, reviewing English copy, then translating it into the actual other languages, QAing those, making sure everything is correct. And what I've done, or what the team has done, is we've built a little chatbot internally based on ChatGPT that consumes our glossary, understands our business, understands our target customer, and we can feed that all the English copy, and it will spit us out Dutch and German, which are the 2 other languages. And it's like I would say 95% good starting point, so it saves us a lot of time, but then we still have to go over it. And this is now this is part of the tool set for the design team. So when they all speak English, obviously fluently, but they can use that tool then to translate all of their flows into the other languages, and then we have a very good starting point, and we only need to spend limited time QAing the translated strings and not actually translating it.
Very interesting. And maybe focusing on Jan and your industry. So I have probably the last question. You have had no limits whatsoever in terms of changing process or changing the way you interact with your team, thanks to maybe AI tools or anything. What would you change? What would you approach differently if you have no constraints whatsoever with this new tool set you have at disposal?
Yeah, I mean, my wish for AI is, so I work best, and I think I hear that from my team as well, is I work best when I have a partner to work with, like a sparring partner. This is what working with a PM is great, or having a second designer in the team is great. We sometimes don't have that, right? Like, because we're still, we want to be an efficient company, and we don't want to overhire. And so a lot of times when you're working on a design project, you're alone, right? And so what I would wish for is to have a virtual sparring partner that I can just share all the designs I'm working with and have a live interaction with, because I think that you move more than twice as fast when two people are looking at the same thing. And so if there's an AI version of that, then I don't need to waste somebody else's time. I can just basically do that with this agent or whatever you call it. So I would probably deploy something like that into the team.
That's a great product idea for our audience, or you as well.
Yeah, it's for free. Whoever wants it.
Mariana, anything at Vinted or in your working space that you just change?
You know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the cliche answer. If there was this ideal solution, you're gonna laugh. I wish that there was something that would really break down the silos. This feels like a very old, huge cliche, but still we haven't completely figured out, and I've seen this across many different companies with different sizes. We still haven't figured out how to seamlessly collaborate with so product designers with engineers, product teams with other product teams, how to share knowledge, how to reuse more of the things that other teams have produced. So if there was this magic wand, this AI tool to fix this, that would be amazing. So collaboration for sure.
That could be Neuralink somewhere in the future. Jan, if you could change something, what would it be?
Well, maybe not change, but I wish that I will have the ecosystem that it allows us to have one day off, actually, to integrate together with the team, because I believe that everyone was counting on an AI that we will have more time, but suddenly we don't have more time. Everything is much more faster than before. So from my point of view, I wish that we have the ecosystem of agents that they will help us to have more time to spend each other.
I was hoping
that.
that would be one of the answers. So the time is up. So thank you very much. So Mariana, Rita, Moritz, Kronberger, and Jan Wardecki were our guests. And on that note, I'd like to thank all the previous hosts and guests, and hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you in a couple of months. Wish you the very best. Hopefully AI will buy you some time, not more expectations.
Definitely, I hope so.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Fingers
Thank you
crossed.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.